All right. What's up, everybody? My name is Chris Mayer, and you're tuned in to The Bit Show, the Boston Indies talk show and happy hour, of course, brought to you by Boston Indies, Boston's home for independent games. We got a great show for you tonight, but first up, I got a couple quick announcements. Actually, if anyone else has announcements out there in the chat, you can drop them in the chat. I'll read them out. I have a couple, so I'll just go first here. First up, the Mass Digi pregame challenge is this Saturday. I'll post a link to that in the chat. And that's kind of I haven't actually been to it, so someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's like a workshop about developing pitches for games and concepting and how you sell games to publishers and that sort of stuff. So information about that in the chat. BFIG, Boston Festival of Indie Games, just announced they're going to be doing virtual festival on January 16th. If you want a booth, I think showcase stuff is all locked in, but if you want to sponsor the show and get a booth on their virtual floor, there's information about that on their Twitter, which I just posted in the chat. And finally, actually, Ichiro, you want to take this one? Ichiro and I have another show that we're running on Tuesday nights, which he can tell you more about.
Absolutely, because we didn't have enough shows during the course of the week. We have something called the 2% Human Show, and that is Chris as mastermind and me and Lars Doucet. Lars and I both established something called Steam Labs over at Valve, and we thought it might be nice, this is completely separate from any Valve work, to highlight as many small games, not all small, mostly small games as possible. So every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have a show that is bought, written, and Lars and I try to figure out what the show wants us to talk about. And I think this week we covered 59 games. Maybe next week on Tuesday we'll cover 60 games.
You'll have to tune in and find out. Anyway, that's it for me. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you got a friend in the Boston game scene out here that's not tuning in every week, invite him next week. Get him in here. We're here every week. Actually, that's not true. We won't be here next week. That's another important announcement. Next week is Thanksgiving. We'll probably not be doing a show on exactly Thanksgiving Eve. That seems like a bad idea. Even though no one should be going home for Thanksgiving, don't leave your house. Okay, I think that's it. I'm going to post some links to the Indies Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. Old episodes are mostly on YouTube, except for last week, which I screwed up. And after the show, there'll be a happy hour link that I'll post in the Slack channel. It's slack.bostongamedev.com. In the events channel, I'll post the Zoom link. And with that, let's get started.
Let's go!
All right. The show has started.
Wait a second, are you Chris, high again?
I'm just saying I need a way more ceremonious "you're on the air" from Chris.
Yeah, we usually get from Chris. He's like, "I'm hitting the button. You guys are on." And it's like
today it was all right.
Yeah.
Hey, look,
all right.
You're seasoned
So,
pros now. You don't need.
Incidentally, so to respond to John Bellini's son, what does tune in mean? It's like you have to start a show with a song, a tune. So tune in.
Maybe I love the thought that, like, what if we could have some sort of analog Twitch where you actually have to spin a dial to change channels. I don't know. They could sell wheels. You have to I don't know.
I would sell them. Ziba, what have you been up to? I haven't talked to you in like a day.
I've had some fun with my Kind Words server has been dying. It's just sort of been disappearing every now and then, not for any good reason. This is exciting. So I emailed the server company, like, hey, why is my server down? They didn't really respond. So I emailed them, my server's down again. And they got back to me quickly with this today. This is a professional hosting company. They said, thanks for contacting us. This was some weird server stuff again. And the engineers fixed it, but in doing so had to take down the site. Like,
do you want to name and shame, or should I find out?
This was DreamHost.
DreamHost, come on. There's
yeah, but I decided, like, I'm going for the full. I paid for one of the bigger tiers. I was like, Kind Words, I need it to not die, and then
and it died. Okay, you heard it here. DreamHost
server stuff.
Ziba gives it a thumbs down.
I feel like there's somebody sitting there who's like, oh man, these servers. I wish we didn't have to deal with servers all the time.
Yeah, I wish we didn't have to make money all the time. Fair enough.
That's what I'm up to. What are you up to?
No, I mean, you heard Bit Show. I'm working with Petrichor on on remastered, which is looking really good. I hope that it will be good enough to show off in the dev chat sometime, but not yet. Not yet. Next week.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Next week, like Thanksgiving, when we're.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna show it off Thursday, Thanksgiving. I don't know. What do we like? I feel like our groove is off for some reason. Do you feel that way? Because usually we've been, the pre-show banter last week we talked. Well, this week we were talking shit about BioShock Infinite and anybody who worked on it.
You're not supposed to give away the pre-show banter.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I don't know. Do you want to talk about like how legitimately impressive when I see students in game development these days? I'm like, boy, I wish I were that good now, much less 25 years ago. And if only we had somebody on who could sort of exemplify this.
We can work on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna put out some calls, see if we can get someone in a few minutes.
Yeah, okay.
To stall for time.
Yeah,
I
let's do
suggest
it.
we go through and show what everybody's been doing this
Oh,
week.
let's do the bitch showboating. That sounds like a great idea. Why don't you start us off?
All right. This week, bitch showboating. All right, we are at the tail end of the Romancylvania Kickstarter. Our dear local friends, Deep End Games here. They're super cleverly named. Like, I'm pretty sure it's the
I
clever
love
name.
that name. This is a like they're doing well. $160,000 raised. That is because of the name and the high concept.
So I think it's a $168,000 name.
Oh, all right.
They need to get to $200,000.
Okay, so they
go ahead and
need
jump on
like
that
$32,000 more in that
We're talking
name.
like 16 hours left, so jump on that, spread the word.
All right, next up we have Rat Dog Games Grunhilder, which looks really swell. I'm just going to let the video talk, on its own. Grunhilde is a narrative shooter in a Norse-inspired sci-fi world. I believe, this is an early access game. I'm not sure when Andrew said it was going to come out. That's all I have to say about it. Looks great. Yep.
Is this where Chris wants to send along his love for everybody who posted their images in?
I think we can be like, so Chris likes it when you post a video to dev chat, devlog, different channels, instead of tweets, because then he can extract them. So if you have something going on, John Bellini, like, Shields, then post it as a video.
Yeah, or like you could make really difficult puzzles for Chris to unravel as the exact URL of your, and just, give him a little, he needs some more to do.
Yep. Well, you're up next.
All right. Rohit, working with that cute little cat again. This really does remind me of some of the cooler like VGA PC style.
Yeah, I like the animation on the main character.
Like Commander Keen and the original Duke Nukem type stuff. It's nice.
Next up, we have Dross Saul showing off the drawing process for one of his bugs. And I can't see how long the video is, so I'm just going to have to wait until it's 49 seconds. Awesome. Yep.
All right, you got Jesse Crafts Finch doing what looks like some fairly complicated, skeletal player controller, moving around, picking up things. I don't know what it is, but this game looks elaborate.
I actually haven't seen this in progress.
I think it's just a prototype of backpack.
It's a backpack prototype, according to
and
Chris.
matching.
Yep.
Backpacks. I feel like backpack stuff is a real
That's a genre
area
right
for
there.
fetishism.
Next up, we have Gavin doing a roguelike prototype. Started work on a game with a few friends after work. It's a roguelite where you can control the difficulty by planting your enemies. That's right, planting your enemies. There's a bunch of iteration, but I'm finally feeling comfortable with sharing it now. Smiley face.
And Jason Todd's doing some enemy tweaking. Just some enemy tweaking.
Oh, I like that. That's good.
Tweaked a little mouth right in there.
Oh, that's upsetting. And then second to last, but not second to least, Matt, who is also in the chat, Betty and Earl, playing around with some more level select stuff. I feel it's still kind of a mess. Don't sell yourself short, Matt, but it meets all my functional requirements. Would love some feedback or inspiration. So there you go.
Who's talking about Chris's
You
stuff?
are. You were talking about Chris's stuff.
Oh, I'm not even qualified. Chris's stuff is too amazing.
So Chris is working on another idle game.
Yeah, this is news to me. I'm sorry. This was like,
you didn't see the screenshots of this and the reverse and the He says it's extremely boring screenshot of two menus that's mostly loaded. They load in a bunch of data tables. What I find really interesting about this is that it uses the Torque 3D engine and runs on a 46.
Yeah, of course. This is actually a demo scene. This fits into 12K.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty impressive.
Okay,
I'm
that's
excited,
nice
Chris.
showboating.
Keep showing it. I want to see more of your stuff. All right. Well, that entire segment was just stalling because I was looking for a guest, and I did find one. This is a fiction we're going with tonight that I found our next guest, the perfect guest, to meet Ichiro's request of finding an amazing student. Mm-hmm. So let me tell you, today's guest is a rising senior at Northeastern and president of the Northeastern Game Dev Club, who is not waiting for anyone's permission to explore the boundaries of stories games can tell. Fortune-telling, fairy tales, and fat dogs. Cam Perry is honing their craft, working with academics and industry as a programmer and a writer. They've cleared out a few minutes between game jams and baking to be here with us tonight. Please welcome Cam Perry.
Oh, am I allowed to talk now? Hello.
Oops, you're always allowed to talk, but sometimes you choose not to. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Sorry we held you back until now.
That's fine.
Usually most guests just interrupt us halfway through. Like when...
This is taking too long.
I know. I'll start. Yeah.
All right. I have a couple of questions for you, Cam. Feel free to ignore them or come up with better ones. But what is the Northeastern Game Dev Club? I mean, I understand the premise. There's university, there's a game dev club, but like at its heart, what does that work out to be?
So our club mainly to try to facilitate and like help other students make games. Because we have obviously the game dev program, but that can't always teach you everything you need or want to learn. So we're really just trying to make this space to help teach things that we as the club has learned and like passing that on. And then like on weekends, we'll do workshops of things that like we have knowledge of and the club wants to see.
Oh, tell us about the workshops.
Yeah, so we've only had so far because like a lot has been happening in the past few months. So we don't always have time to put them on, but we did a really short one about nav meshes in Unity, like learning pathfinding and stuff like that. What else did we had one of our friends come in and do a gray boxing example and learning, I forget what the program was called. Ooh, that's not good, but like how to like basically gray box in Unity without just making a million cubes. And then this weekend we're doing a production and like sprint planning one. So like learning some producer type stuff.
That's pretty varied and awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, this club's been going for do you know how long? Many years.
Since before I've been at Northeastern.
Do you get people going like all 4 years in it and like have enough knowledge build up and cycling it through or what?
A few. There's like, we still have some like past alums in like the Discord and they're just pop in sometimes. It's like, usually we just get like an influx of like freshmen and sophomores, and like those are like the main people we talk to because since they're all new. And then like as the years go on, people are like still in the Discord and they'll pop in sometimes for club, but yeah.
They get jaded and old and leave games.
You've got some alums who from that have gone off to pretty cool gigs.
Yeah, really cool. Like Ryan Maloney, we had him come in and talk. He's doing great. I know there are other people in there. Nuz came and talked the other day. He's flourishing.
And how's the club doing during COVID? What have you been able to provide for each other now? You got the Discord.
Yeah, we have the Discord. We do like Zoom meetings and we'll record them for people. And then like the workshops are also recorded. Somehow going online has kind of helped us with like attendance because now people can just like put us on in the background.
Now everybody's like, what is everybody doing? They're sitting at home going, why?
Yeah, this show dies as soon as everybody's allowed to go outside and have other things to do.
When do game developers go outside, Ziba? What is this? So I hear, so Ziba has a couple of notes. I'm going to ask about the second one first. Okay. I want to know about baking.
Yeah, so I told Ziba a little bit in like the pre-interview. My roommates and we like order from Costco and they sell like 25 pounds of flour and like 10 pounds of sugar. So like we're almost out of the sugar and we're now almost out of our second 25-pound bag of flour. I have bread proofing in the kitchen right now.
You need to see to that? You need to cut the show short for that?
No, probably not.
Okay,
It'll
good.
be fine.
That would be so rude.
Yeah, sorry, I gotta go make some bread.
Some happy hour bread.
Yeah.
So I pulled that out of, I was, on one of your websites, you talked about enjoying baking and reading and painting, and I asked you about reading, and you're like, I haven't had time to read. So I assumed painting would be like, no, I do have time to paint. And I was like, I love that you're like, my priorities painting, which is it's because that's not you're studying computer science and game design, and you're mentally focusing on programming and game narrative. But I love that you still have this priority on painting. What are you painting?
Like, not good. Well, the past few times we've been doing Ghibli repaints. So I painted a thing from Ponyo that came out really bad. But then I also painted the little ducks in like the little sauna from Spirited Away. And they're currently hanging on the wall in the living room. But yeah, I took like a painting class last semester. So now I just have an absurd amount of painting supplies.
I like that, right? So like, we were talking about last week, video game developers, if we focus too much, right, then we become myopic and weird. So like going outside, painting, baking, whatever the third thing is, makes a lot of sense. I'm curious.
Done with it. It's all painting now.
It's all reading. Yeah. Well, I was going to ask not about reading, but the narrative stuff. What is your narrative focus?
I just like making narratives. I've been on a horror kick recently. Don't know why. Could be because we're coming off of Halloween, but probably not. So I've been watching like a lot of Netflix shows. And like my roommates and I, we have like forced family movie nights where we'll watch stuff. Or just shows together. Like we just finished Bly Manor a little bit ago, and that hurt me. But yeah.
Has that worked into your actual work? Have you written?
I was going to, because Francesca, who I think is in chat, made Vino Reno, which is like NaNoWriMo, the November writing thing, but for visual novels. And I was originally going to write about episode 5 of Bly Manor, and then I'm like, wow, I overscoped, so now I do something else.
So, and this is a bit of a disingenuous question, more opportunity for you to talk about it. But like, so you study programming, you love writing. Why combine the two? Why not just program and write? What are you getting out of doing both? It seems harder.
It is harder. It's mostly because like when I first came into college, I'm like, wow, coding's fun. Let's do that. And then I'm like, wow, I hate coding. So as it stands now, it's hard to get in the game industry, especially as a narrative designer or a writer. So I'm like, okay, I can code. So if game writing never doesn't work out, I can at least support myself on programming somewhere. So if I have to like do writing on the side, or can only like occasionally freelance work out or something.
Writing is tough, right? I mean, like, so it's kind of unfair to folks with narrative tendencies. Is that the phrase I'm looking for? But proclivities, talents, and so forth. Like I remember you put out a call for a programmer, especially as a game development company, you get like 5 resumes. You put out a call for writers, and you will literally get 20 times that many. I guess I don't have see, this is bad interviewing. I don't have a question, but Ziba's going to save me now to turn that into an interrogative for Cam.
Well, so I mean, you're this is the part I said in the intro, but you're not waiting for anybody. You're doing stuff, which is really cool. You have a lot of projects hosted on your site. I just wanted to bring up a couple of them. Like I played a few of your games. Alice, and then Alice spelled backwards. How would you pronounce that? That's the title.
I literally don't know. I always just say Alice. One of my friends calls it Ecola.
Because written, it sounds a bit like my wife's name, Alice, and then Ichiro's wife's name, Alicia.
Oh wow! So
Wow.
our respective wives mirror images for you?
Yeah, this is getting weird.
Yeah. Okay, you see it up on the screen here. Our heroine, Alice.
Story in our lives. It's gonna some ARG thing. But anyways, no. So, tell us a little bit about this game.
Yeah, so this I think would be considered like the first like polished type game that I've made. I worked on it with 2 other girls, and it's a very short game. It's a platformer using Alice in Wonderland. I think when we wrote it, we were all depressed, which is why it's about depression. But we also I don't think it's fully in yet, but like we contracted out a musician from Berkeley, and she did great music. So once that gets in, it's like great. But yeah, that was like our first big project. We did it for a class, so we did it in one semester, so like half a year to create that whole thing. And like even now, like I can see there's bugs in it, and you can see like it's not the best, but it's still like very near and dear to my heart because it's like the first real game that I've made.
Yeah, and I could playing it. I could feel that. I could feel there was some mood in there, and I felt an absolute 180 mood in this next game, which
an absolute unit of a 180 move. Is that where you're going for
absolute unit. There was a lot of joy in this one, and so I don't know why this clicked with me so fast, but it's a short game, short story, and basically it becomes very clear mechanically, I'm gonna make this dog fat. And I'm a little worried at how excited I got about like I don't want to abuse any animals, but I was like, I'm gonna make this dog fat. What's going on in this game?
Yeah, so this was made for a game jam. We did this in 48 hours in RPG Maker. It was so fun to make. It was with a couple friends, one of the same musicians who worked on Alice, and it was just, I think the theme was like expansion or something, and someone just said, what if it's a dog but it gets longer? And then that turned into, what if it's a dog but it gets fatter? And it was just like a very short, silly game that we made in a very short amount of time. It was finished by the end of the jam, which is, who's heard of finishing a game?
Yeah.
Ziba, did you make your dog fat?
I fed him so many treats, he became fat, and I don't know if it's because of or it was a correlation, he was loved by a human.
That's interesting. So food is like in many cultures, food is love. So I guess that's appropriate. Right? So as a narrative designer, it must come up the question of how to bring mechanics into your narrative. And I don't want to ask too many leading questions or a question too leading, but like how does narrative touch design and mechanics touch narrative without railroading the player?
It's like, that's a big question.
It is.
I think it really depends on the type of like game you're playing, or like genre, I guess. In our capstone game that we're working on right now, we have like narrative touched in like just the world. So like you'll walk up to certain things and then like a little pop-up appears, and it's not something that you have to read, it's just flavor text. But it still adds to the game more. So like in short like exploration games like that, it works, or like an absolute unit where I think there's a small event where you can go up and like pee on a tree, and now that's your tree and that's what it says. And just small things like that I think really add to like the game design. And I feel like environmental storytelling is a word that's just thrown around and no one knows what that means. But I feel like doing whatever that means in any sort of game helps like understanding why the level design looks like this in terms of the narrative. Because you can, like, if you're making a zombie game, you can just have a post-apocalyptic world, but like, why is this like one teddy bear untouched in a house or something like that adds a lot. Because even if there's no text there, it's still like, that's a bit weird. I wonder what's happening next, and like stuff like that.
Are you influenced by other games, or do you avoid other games' influences?
I think I'm heavily influenced by other games. I don't really get a lot of time anymore to like play games for myself, which sucks. But like when I do, it's like, oh wow, that was a really cool way of doing things. And it's like, how can I do something similar? 'Cause you never want to copy anything, but like just looking at something and be like, that's really cool, I want to do something like that.
Right. Well, so what is that? Give us some examples.
Oh gosh.
I'm gonna crib from your list.
I have to think of, what have I even been playing? What if I just started playing?
If Cam's not copying things, I'm going to.
I was just playing something. What was I just playing? Oh, I was playing a horror game called Yuppie Psycho, which is like a pixelated horror game. I don't know how big it is, but I love that developer and like the other game he made. But in that game, it's just set in a really weird office. Like nothing is outright scary. It's just weird. And like even when you're just like walking around in like the safe areas, you still don't feel safe, which is really interesting. And things that like I want to pull in when I'm making horror games, or just the fact that it's like there's like one, like at the beginning you just walk in and people are just waiting to go into the elevator, and somehow that's like unnerving and stuff like that.
I find that unnerving in real life, especially these days, but okay, I agree.
Yeah. Oh, Tony just reminded me, Bug Snacks. We've been playing Bug Snacks.
In
that game.
The hype?
Yeah, I honestly, like, I saw it, I'm like, oh, it's just gonna be a cute little game, whatever. And it's just so funny every time we find like a new bug snack. It's just like this, it's like when you first play Pokemon, you're like, what is that? And it like helps that they also say their name like Pokemon.
That's by the Phil, right?
Phil
Tibitowski of Octodad fame.
Yeah.
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 It's by Young
great.
Horses.
Yep, Young Horses.
Thank you. Young Horses. So I did want to get into you've worked with other teams and you're cleared at school. You also participated in where I think it was an internship at something called Code Coven. That sounded interesting.
Yeah.
What is
Code
that?
Coven? So it's like similar to Mass Digi, but like different. It was like a summer incubator program where I was put into a team with some of the other students who were in it. I think there was 15 of us, 13, 15, somewhere around that. So I was in a team of 4, but like my 4th member was the one audio person. So we had to give them up at some point so they could do their audio for everyone else. But yeah, that was really fun. We made a rhythm RPG, which I don't recommend doing in 10 weeks. Don't make a rhythm game. It's very hard, especially when there's one programmer, and that's you. But it was really great. Everyone who ran it was super sweet. They were super encouraging. Even when they were like, guys, your scope is out of this world, they still like were helpful. They brought in industry professionals to like give talks and to help us. We each had a team mentor and then like our own mentors. And we got paid. So like, it was great.
I do like that about like, so, you know, like these, like Mass Digi pays its, SIP X folks, which I think is really nice.
Mm.
Yeah, incidentally, so Trevor, of all people, when you mentioned rhythm games, mentioned Necrodancer and not his own game, Jungle Rumble. So just putting that out there. And then also the Twitch just tried to kick Francesca for calling Bug Snacks so gay.
Francesca was one of the people from Code Coven. She's great.
All right. My head is with the bugs and the snacks. But
Jungle Rumble isn't an RPG. Okay, sorry.
So we're rounding this out with some bigger scope question. Not to put you on the spot, but you've been exploring, with you got these different moods and Alice, Alicia, and Absolute Unit. You have this fortune telling game. You're exploring these different both genres, gameplays. Are there themes or just areas of games that you are still hungry to explore or haven't gotten to yet for some reason?
Like I said, I've been like in the horror mood, so like I really want to start making more of those. Not just because like ooh scary, but just because of like the other themes you can put into those. Like Alice was like kind of like a personal game almost, just because of its themes. And I kind of want to keep making similar games, not like super heavy like Depression Quest level games, but something that someone can play and be like, oh, I get that. Whereas like you can just make games for fun, but like I just like the like more like people pulling something from your narrative. Just fun games are fun. The game I made for Code Coven is just fun. But yeah, just more games like that that like use horror as like a device, like kind of how Bly Manor does it, where it's like not actually like outright scary. It's just unnerving, it's creepy, and it has other themes pulled into it that like add to the horror of it, where it's not shocking horror, it's like psychological.
Yeah. Awesome. I am looking forward to a horror game where I make a fat dog.
That could go dystopian. That in and of itself could be a theme for a game jam, right? So Ziba, you have another game jam. I wasn't supposed to say this. Well, yeah, I like it. Ziba Scott, he has another game jam coming up in the next millennium. Why not just make it a fat dog for midterms game jam?
Fat dog for midterms?
It's community reference. Okay, never mind. Look, it'll be.
I love the idea of a fat dog game jam. I mean, it rolls off the tongue.
Fat dog game jam.
Fat dog game jam.
Sponsored by Cam Perry. I'm putting that out there.
And we pay everybody. Yeah. This is
okay.
This is great.
Wait, does Cam have to pay everybody? That doesn't seem very fair.
Oh no.
They're just a student.
Cam can sell some of that bread and paintings. It'll work.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah,
that's true. That's true.
Especially during, fair enough. Yeah.
Wait, why aren't your paintings in your games? Are they?
So actually, in Alice, 2 of the backgrounds I had drawn and the title card I drew.
Cool.
I think that's all I drew. I animated the characters too, but that's
I'm saying at least you've got most of all the pieces to be a one cam show here.
I've been telling people once I learn how to compose, it's over.
But yeah, and then we were talking about that on the Boston Indies, the Boston Game Dev chat, right? Like being a solo person. Mm-hmm. And I forget what was it, Evan? Somebody mentioned, I'm afraid of learning too many skills because then I will be relying upon myself to do everything, which is like, this is good for a jam. That's also good if you're doing RimWorld, but it's potentially like isolating. Yeah.
I'm afraid of learning too many skills.
That's my interpretation. Yeah.
Well, it's so alien to me. I'm just going to be too awesome. I'm going to be.
Look, Ziba, not everybody can get a Ziba. Sorry, Luigi. I get you confused. No, there's not a Boston Indies Discord. There's a Boston. I'm responding to the chat. There's a Boston Slack. Wait, there's a Boston Discord.
The Discord is more student focused. Actually, Cam could probably talk about that.
Oh yeah, talk about the Discord.
Oh yeah, that Discord's great. It's huge. Ray runs it more than I do. But it's just like for all the colleges in Boston, alums, some older people are in there. I think like adults. I said that really weird. I'm so sorry.
I'm so afraid to hear your definition of an adult.
You're almost dead. 1 foot in the grave. 30 and over.
How do people get on that Discord? Is there a link to it somewhere? I don't have one.
I think it looks like SHO might have posted one.
Okay.
You can actually see the link if you're over 35.
Yeah, you can't see. Yeah, SHO also asked if games could be made for fun. So I don't know.
I mean, they can be, but like, games always start out fun when you're making them, and then like you find that one bug, and it's no longer fun.
Truer words.
Yeah, I just need to hire someone to finish things that I start. That's all.
Oh, me too. So many things I have to do.
All right. Well, those of us who are adults are going to turn in pumpkins at 8 o'clock or whatever time. So can you just, it's been a delight talking to you. Can you tell everybody where they can connect with you, where you're hanging out online?
Yeah.
If you want people to find you, if not.
Yeah, they could, that's fine. I mean, they already see me, so like they might as well. On Twitter, I'm at not_Cameron or N0T_Cameron, I think is my tag. And that's the same on Instagram, but my Instagram's like dead most of the time. And then on my itch, it's CMRNPRRY. I don't know what the itch link is, but that's my username on itch. And
our producer will get that up.
Yeah, I think that's my most, those are like the 2 things I check most.
Just digging myself for age again. Having a healthy itch page is a thing young people do. That's not.
How about having so I just posted your GitHub link, and it looks. I mean, it's pretty green, right? So that's pretty good.
Ooh, Yeah. You can look at my code there, but I think
it's okay. We will not unpack it during this show. We'll do it after in the happy hour. I'm sure it's great.
No.
All right. Well, yeah, I'm eager now to get into the happy hour and keep talking with you and everybody else in the chat. So, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. All right. Back to you, Chris.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's give Cam one more round of applause here. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us this week. I feel like I had another announcement that I was supposed to make now, and it's like completely gone. Join us for happy hour, where maybe I'll remember what this other announcement was. I'll post a link in the Boston Game Dev Slack, which I just posted a link to a couple minutes ago. I'll post the link in the events channel. And yeah, thanks for joining us. No show next week. It is Thanksgiving. We'll be back in whatever 2 weeks. I don't have a guest booked, so we'll figure it out. And yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks, everybody.